It's graduation week for many students, and with graduation comes contradictions. Students are glad to be moving on, yet sad about what they're leaving behind. Parents are grateful their children are growing up while still wanting to have that time slow down. My next guest says these conflicting feelings are normal, but we need to be careful to not get caught up in our own emotions before we help our kids through their own. Studio 5 parenting contributor Heather Johnson is here with better ways for parents to be in these big moments with our big kids. Why is this so tricky?
You know, lots of times it's tricky because our emotions get in the way. Just like they're managing these emotions, we have a lot of thoughts about this, right? We are so excited for what they have accomplished, but we are very sad when we recognize our kids are growing up, right? We're so excited for what they get to experience next, but we're also sad that these phases are behind them. And so we have all of these feelings that we're also processing. And if we're not careful, we put a lot of energy into that. And so we miss out on those opportunities to sit still with our kids and help them emotionally make these transitions in these really, really big moments.
In those moments. I've got a niece who's graduating this week from Weber High, and I'm seeing my sister go through this very thing. I'm excited for her, but I'm sad at the same time. So you've got some ways to help us get through this, 5 ways to be better at it. So what's our first one here?
Well, first, we want to make sure that these moments are about them. And it's really easy to not do that. Again, we come in with expectations. We come in with ways we think they should celebrate or things that will make them feel celebrated. And that might not be what they're feeling. I know when our son graduated a couple years ago, I had this impression, not from him, just in my own mind, that he'd probably want to spend a lot of graduation time with friends. And when we actually sat down and asked him, that's not what he wanted. He wanted to spend time with family. He was getting ready to leave, and he wanted those last moments at home opposed to there. And it's easy to miss what they want, right? We see this, maybe you've seen a surprise party thrown for someone who's very shy. And that shy person is like, oh, that's not what makes me feel celebrated. It really was the person who threw the party who wanted the surprise party.
So you need to communicate.
We got to make sure that we're not the parents that are doing it the way we want it, but instead we're looking to do it the way that they might want it. With that too, we also want to be really open to the fact that these conflicting emotions are going to show up. We have to expect them. We have to expect that they're going to be there. If we don't expect them, we're going to get a little bit caught off guard. If they don't show up, great. At least we'll be prepared. And what happens is we might want to consider putting our conflicting emotions off to the side for a minute so we can sit in the moments with our kids. So for example, if our kids come to us and say, I'm so sad for these friends that I'm not going to see again, it's really easy for us to jump right ahead and say, oh, but you're going to make such, great new friends in college. Oh, you're going to have great new experiences that you're going to think about and care about so much more than high school. The second we do that, we've actually negated everything that they're saying.
Because that's what I would have said. So what do I say?
Yeah, so we want to just sit with them and recognize it is really hard to spend most of your childhood and all of your high school with friends and then consider not seeing them again. The only reason we have the perspective of what college or the future looks like is because we've been there. They don't have that perspective. So when we jump on them, it's an opportunity we miss out on to sit with them and say, these friends have been really great to you, haven't they? And you have made amazing memories. And I can see why it would be sad to take these new big steps and do it without these friends that have been by your side. Then their minds get really open to us then helping them see the great things that are ahead. But when we dismiss those feelings, their minds aren't open to hearing anything that we might want to say to them moving forward.
And you might get the response, well, you don't understand. You don't understand what I'm trying to communicate with you, what I'm telling you.
Yeah, and as soon as there's that misunderstanding, their ears are closed. Remember, understanding is what opens ears. So if we want to be in these big moments with these big kids, we want to build that understanding.
Okay, this next one I absolutely love because I see a lot of us, myself included, make this mistake where we want to throw the big party. We want to make it like the most lavish, best thing in the world, but then it becomes about us.
It does. It becomes about us. And it's not just the celebration that we make about us, but oftentimes when our kids hit these milestones like graduation, we make what they've accomplished or haven't accomplished also be about us. And so we watch as these kids, we're surrounded by all these graduates, they're all doing different things. And it's easy to look at it and think, well, what you have done means I'm a better parent, or what you haven't done means that I'm not a good parent. And so we want to, again, make sure this is not about us. What they've accomplished, where they're headed, what they haven't done, that doesn't mean that we're worth more or less as a parent. And the sooner we can learn to not make things about us as parents, the more successful we'll be and the happier we'll be, the more joy we will find in our
But
parenting.
is it okay if once their celebration's over, we celebrate? Because honestly, even the fact that my kid is graduating elementary, I feel like I deserve an award for that. I really do.
That you've worked through it with
I
them, right?
worked through that. I helped with the homework. I did all those things.
Absolutely. And we want to be excited for that. We just want to make sure that when we're excited for the energy and effort, the behavior that's gone on. What happens is when we make things about us, it becomes a shame space where, especially when they don't succeed, it means we weren't good enough. And that's where we really get into trouble, right?
Yeah.
It's where we get into trouble.
Okay, well, this next one that kind of leads into that is it's kind of knowing where we sit in there.
We have a new role, maybe not new. Hopefully we haven't been judging and controlling while they've been in high school. But it's really easy when they graduate to want to judge the decisions that they make next and want to control.
That's a difficult time in life.
It is. And we've been there again. So we know, hey, if you go that direction, it's going to cause some heartache or it's going to postpone some of your goals. And so now's the time to let go of being their judge. And instead, we want to pick up and put on the coaching hat. It's time for us to be a coach. Coaches uplift. Coaches inspire. Coaches are there when the chips fall and help everybody pick the pieces back up. We want to coach them. This is not a time to dictate and to tell them what they need to do. You know, it's interesting. We are a byproduct of the mistakes we've made over the course of our lives. And as parents, we so quickly want to remove any mistakes from our kids. And we forget that they need to make those decisions in order to become who they're going to become. And now is a really key time for them to start making those decisions. We want to coach them through it, not decide those things for them.
I feel so inspired right now. I want to get out there and be better at this. Okay, so another good point, this last one here, is we can't just stop, though, altogether, right? We can't take the summer off.
We can't, and we want to. Like you said, you know, you've got a graduate, no matter the age, the grade, and we're tired, and we've done a lot of things, and our kids are tired, and our seniors are tired. And so it's really normal to go, it's summer, I'm doing nothing. That really doesn't benefit anyone in the ways that we think it does. Now, we're not saying that there's not time for them to wind down, for them to slow down the summer compared to what maybe they've done their senior year. That's not what we're saying. But oftentimes we have the mentality that they should really do nothing for 3 months. And then magically we're just going to turn it on and roll right into what needs to be done.
That's overwhelming if you do that.
It is overwhelming, and it doesn't serve them in a lot of ways. So we're much better off coaching them, right? Helping them see they actually probably do want a job. They do want to learn to work 9 to 5. They've never done that before. They want to learn what it's like to have a boss, to have expectations in a workplace. Those are good things. What we're really trying to do is coach them to make choices this summer that set them up to continue down the path or down the road of all the goals they're trying to accomplish moving forward.
Fantastic.
They don't need to take on a million of those things, but if they take on a few so that once this next stage hits, they're not starting from scratch. Plus, employers really appreciate, so do colleges, seeing that you've spent this summer doing something in between.
Right. You didn't just give up and move on. Okay.
Yeah.
I love it.
So we want to encourage them to not quit it all just because they're tired, but instead find ways to keep moving in the right direction.
Great advice. 5 great points there to keep us in those big moments and celebrate the way we should be celebrating those big moments. Heather, thank you so much. Heather, of course, coaches and counsels families and individuals. You can find her information on our Studio 5 website. Heather, thank you.